What's up? What's happening? What's good? Hey guys, welcome to the PM&A podcast. This is number 15.
15.
Can you believe it?
15.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've started for a while. Hey guys, welcome. This podcast is brought to you by Rose Pipes & Co. Come on, check out Nate's handmade pipes, for real. Like, he has it on there that he hand makes pipes for tobacco, but you know, you can smoke weed.
Did you see that he went Briar, bro?
Yeah, he went Briar. Yeah, he stepped up his game.
You know what they say when you go Briar?
So Nate makes handmade pipes, and if you mention the PM&A podcast upon purchase, you'll get a good deal. You'll get a good deal, A, and B, you'll get a free tamper.
That was good. We nailed it that time.
We were trying to set that up.
We're like, let's say free at the same time.
So also on the podcast, if you guys like have $20 or $15 kicking around, there's this cool guy named Nick, and he runs #Hope CA #Hope. He's trying to get a new car. So basically, Nick runs a suicide prevention project, and he's trying to get around Canada, and he's not, he just needs some help. So if you could go over to his Instagram, it's #HopeCA is the actual Instagram, and then you'll see his GoFundMe. And he's just trying to get a new car. He's trying to raise $4,000. He actually has $3,305 so far.
He's close.
So last time we posted, that was almost $400 less. So
wow.
Hey, maybe it was you guys. Maybe you guys are so cool that you helped out. So I don't know.
Thank you.
Clint Williams, what's up, my man?
What is going on, boys?
Cooking with Clint
In the house.
What's up?
I'm here.
Man, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I was so stoked because I messaged you a while ago. I was just sitting around. I'm like, sometimes I'll message people and be like, I would love to have this person on. I'm like, I would love to have this person on. I'm like, I'm gonna message Clint, but I don't know. He seems like he's a busy guy, or you won't be able. You're like, yeah, let's do it right away. Let's get up. Let's jump on it. It was so cool.
Yeah, no, I was super excited when you guys reached out to me. After hearing how polished you are, though, just during the intro, I don't know if I'm quite at your level yet. I'm not sure if you made the right decision.
What do you mean polished? What do you
You guys sound good, man. You guys sound good.
We're just. This is what we're.
How many times did you do that before I got here?
Fake it till you make it. That's first.
No, I just I write a little bit of notes, and then I public speak.
We keep it fresh. We keep it fresh.
No, it's good. It's tight.
He wanted to record.
Yeah, I wanted to have it so it was like us talking, and then like our intro. And then we would just start the podcast instead of doing the housekeeping during it. But I kind of like it better when we do it
right after
on the
fly, man.
It's more real.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, that's what's up.
No, it's good.
And we nailed the free.
Oh, wow.
Hot mic.
Yeah.
We nailed the free. We nailed the free part too.
Well, that's what really.
That's getting cut.
That was
for
money.
Sure. That's getting cut for sure.
So last time I talked to you, you were. Can I say where you were working before? Is that
yeah,
right?
Sure.
So you were working for LG. You were earning and burning, cashing checks and breaking necks.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, so now you're cooking with Clint.
Yeah, I just basically I just decided that I didn't want to work anymore.
Yeah. Good for you.
Just because it was anything that I do, I don't really have like a 50 or an 80. I'm either like 0 or 100. Whoa. And I just got to the point where I didn't feel like I was able to really go any further down that avenue, and it was starting to have an impact on my personal life.
Oh.
And the most important thing to me in my life is my family.
So what's up?
I've got a 3-year-old now, and a year or two before we had her, I decided to make some big changes to be able to be the best possible person and father that I could.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let a job start to negatively impact myself, because then in turn that starts to impact my family. So I didn't even really have a plan. I just, I just decided that, I'm going to put in my resignation, and I'm going to just pursue things that I love to do.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not a lot of people can say that at the end of the day. They everybody has a job 9 to 5, but if you love what you do, like you're looking like you love what you do.
Yeah, and that's anything that I'm doing, I need to be passionate and I need to love it. When that happens, it's just it's gonna work, right?
Dude, it's
Yeah, and you know what they say: if you're doing something you love, then you're not really working.
You're not really
right?
working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like a plan or like an avenue or anything. I just decided I'm gonna try to work on my hobby, which
culinary arts.
Yeah, my cooking, my Instagram page, Cookin with Clint, And I just decided I was going to give it 100% and start putting some more effort into that. And I just figured if I do that, like, good things would happen.
So?
Good things are happening.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
if just so people know a little background story with Clint and I. Clint and I used to work for a local appliance store in Kitchener, and I worked there for like 12 years. And how long did you work there before?
I was there from 09 to 16 or 08 to 16, so like 8 years-ish. I don't even know the exact dates, to be honest with you.
And as people know, I did like odd jobs here and there. I went from building, barbecues and stuff to like working like a manager position, I guess. I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, it was a lot of life learning, and it was awesome, but that's how Clint and I met. It was pretty rad. And we had like, oh man, so many laughs.
Well, out of all the guys, because I was like the new sales guy on the floor, so when you're on the sales floor, the new guy's always hated by everyone. Even it doesn't matter like how good you are, but right from like the first minute I saw this guy, he was like super friendly, and he basically said to me like, listen, man, a lot of these guys here are dicks, but anything you need, just let me know. Yeah. Just like if there's anything I can do to help you out, whether it's like breaking down a box or showing you where something is or whatever, man, like I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
He just made me feel really welcome. So, we kind of connected and started developing a relationship from there, hanging out and, throwing some darts, listening to some Rage Against the Machine.
We were just being positive. And
blowing off steam after a shift,
yelling about certain salesmen. And
we never talked about other people.
No, we had a good time. Man, it was great seeing you. Great seeing you. It's awesome. So, Cooking with Clint, now you got sponsors?
There's actually quite a few companies and people and have reached out to me. Looks like I'm going to be providing some content for people.
Sweet.
I've just, haven't been having any direction up until this point, but now I've kind of figured out where I want to take it and go with it. I am also going to be doing a little bit of catering on the side, not necessarily setting up a whole catering business, but if there's friends that have an event and if it makes sense and if I can make people happy with my food, then I'm down.
Yeah.
So you do run a catering, or you're thinking about doing it?
No. Like I kind of do it I've done it by request in the past. I've booked a couple events over the next little while.
Like weddings?
Not that formal.
Like
more
stag
like
and does kind of things?
More like showers or just
good.
like backyard get-togethers.
Because it'd be nice to know like a DJ that does like stag and does and stuff like that, right?
Jeez. Let's just stop this for a second.
Yeah.
Do you know that the first time we posted something about us DJing, Clint was the first person to talk smack? He's like, "How's that laptop treating you?"
Oh, really?
Because you used to DJ, right?
I don't know if you can call it DJing.
No?
It was more just playing CDs at school dances and stuff.
Okay.
But I called myself DJ MTC. My biggest stage was probably like the Country Hills Community Center for like a drop-in dance.
There you go, man.
I wanted to like get into it, but I'm not a DJ or never really was. I just used to play 2 CD players at some events.
That's rad. Yeah, so Ernie's like, we went from like, I think you saw that first post. We had that. What was that, Ernie?
It was an iDJ3 Lite.
It was really lame.
This thing could have been broken by my 4-year-old. Like it
looked like it was.
It looked like one of her toys. It really did.
But now you're like full digital turntables, touch sensitivity, light, sound. He's got the full thing going on. Shadywood events.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I know I get like a lot of asks if like people that we know for like photographers or like sometimes stag and does, they don't want to bring food, so they might like get it like catered by somebody.
So Shadywood, do you guys like know like the bike crew Shadywood as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we know those guys.
Are you aware of the Shadywood?
Well, like one of my best friends is in the group.
Yeah.
Who?
No way.
Yeah, Jason Vickers.
What?
Yeah, man.
Seriously?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my boy. We go way, way back.
So,
yeah.
Hang on, just so I know which one.
Vickers is the one that owns the vape shops.
The guy
Pony
boy. The guy with the red hair.
No, that's Jay Fields. That's the other guy that owns the vape shops. I know Jay too.
That's the other guy from
Voodoo Vapes.
They both have that new YouTube thing.
Yeah,
it's,
Burgers and Bikes.
Burgers and Bikes.
Burgers and Bikes.
No
Check them out on
way.
YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, check them out.
world.
Go check them out.
Yeah, so we started hanging out with those guys. So
before it was Shadywood. Before it was Shadywood anything.
Before that, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can.
Just fine.
You sound fantastic.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm not hearing anything in my headphones. Maybe. Before we were Shadywood, I can't hear anything. Don't worry about it. If you guys can hear me, that's fine. Before we were Shadywood, there was a bunch of us part of this like beard group.
I remember that. I didn't know that.
You remember? And even that you were talking smack.
I am guilty of talking smack on that one.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
So I was like, what do you guys do? Just hang out and take pictures in
It's
weird places? Or like, because you couldn't tell me like what the point of it was. Like if I would have known like the basis, I might have understood it. It's like, so what do you guys do?
So how do they describe it? It's a.
By the way, everyone in the group looks like they can kick my ass, so I'm not talking any smack.
They're
hooligans or Shadywood or any of you guys.
They're cool guys.
They're the best fucking guys.
Yeah, straight up the coolest guys. So we started hanging out with those guys years ago. We were part of this group called the Bearded Villains.
Okay.
It was like so it's this worldwide group about these guys who love beards. So it actually kind of like it. I was a part of that when before the PMA podcast started up, I was doing the KW Facial Hair Club, and I started that up my own. A couple guys around our area, we had like 5 or 6 members. But then this the Bearded Villains kind of started up, and then we did like a Southwest chapter. So we all started hanging out and talking and stuff. And then we just kind of started seeing ourselves like disalign from like their like ethos or the way they kind of like doing things. It was like it was like a bunch of political stuff.
We were trying to be cool to people that we would never ever meet. So
yeah. So no offense to them, they can do whatever they want. They do some good stuff for charity, stuff like that. But we separated, and so we're just like we're the Shadywood Beard Club, and so we started hanging out with like all those guys at the bikers and stuff, and then they kind of like progressed to what they are now, which is like the Shadywood. Actually, the hooligans, right?
Yeah, Shadywood hooligans.
Yeah, so Ernie and I are buddies with like Joel Cash, the guy who basically has the shop down off of Shadywood, and he's just like the sweetest guy, just like the coolest guy ever, just like the nicest guy. But if you came over and hung out with us, you might be a little intimidated. Like there's some pretty rough looking guys, but they're
I got to meet all of them. They Jay Vickers, he had his birthday party at his place, and he invited me over. I realized when I got there why he invited me. He needed someone to cook, but but they're all great guys. I met them all, and he said the same thing to me. He's like, listen, like they might look like they're gonna beat you up, but they're all super cool, and I didn't get beat up that night. So
and then Joel Cash is the guy that I DJ with him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's the one that got me into. He basically got me started into the whole thing. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
So since you guys have bikes?
Ernie does.
You've
got a bike?
Used to.
So are you like an affiliate member then? Like,
yeah.
You gotta work your way up to like full.
We're the bitches that don't ride bitch.
No, I don't have a bike right now. I'm gonna get a bike soon. I got rid of it a couple years ago, but.
Could you guys ask like a couple guys in the group if they'd be willing to install a sidecar, and you guys can?
But maybe like rollerblades and some rope. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys just has a truck.
If you guys do that, I want to film it.
One of the guys just has a truck.
Yeah. He doesn't really ride either.
He just has a truck, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cooking. When did you start cooking? Why do you love it? Like, how did it start?
It probably goes back to family dinners. Like both my parents, they both worked in the restaurant industry.
Oh no way.
My mom and my dad, like, not that they were poor growing up, but they grew up in big families. So like my mom had like 10 brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah.
My dad, family of 4. So they never really had a lot as kids. Like everything they got was hand-me-downs. So my mom and dad, like, they made it a goal to like make sure that like my brother and I had absolutely everything that we could want. But sometimes that meant my mom would work 3 jobs.
Oh.
So every Sunday would be our family night where like no matter what, like we got together and my mom would like put down a meal, like proper, like 3-4 courses, like everything. And because of their background, I mean, they were both worked at the Keg franchise. But this is like back when they used to do everything from scratch. Like they made their dressing, so they knew all the recipes. So like we were eating really good, and then we'd start going out sometimes as a family for meals. And I still remember the first time like where I had food that it absolutely blew me away to the point where like I could feel it in my body. Like it gave me goosebumps. And it was steak fajitas at the Keg, and that's kind of where it started. And then what happened as I started getting older, I started noticing more and more that I'd go to a restaurant, I'd build it up so much in my head, only to be disappointed.
No way.
And just like the quality of food, the quality of service, just kind of everything, just kind of over time started to slip. So instead of being disappointed by, you know, a subpar meal, I decided to start learning how to make my favorites myself.
Yeah.
And then I know where I wanted them to be, so I just would take time and effort and trial and error, and eventually started getting certain things to where I wanted them to be. And then I've always been the type of person that would rather like hang out with a group of friends or family, and you know, sit around a fire or sit out on a deck and just kind of chat.
Yeah.
Hang out and spend time together rather than going out to like a nightclub or a pub or anything. Like, don't get me wrong, I did the club scene and all that, but yeah, I just, you know, you can, it's more of an experience, you know.
Yeah.
You get to talk more.
Yeah.
And, you know,
There's a lot of love in the room.
yeah, it's more, I don't know, genuine or
Yeah.
you know,
I could say the same thing with us though. Like it is with us, it was always. You always looked forward to when it was like a family event, just so you could go socialize.
Family makes it more fun and like
for most of us.
Especially if you're cooking, anyway. It's got to be love there. Like you gotta, like isn't it like that Japanese thing? Like those people in those restaurants, like if they come into work and they work in a restaurant, they're in a bad mood, they get kicked off home because they don't want it to affect the food. Like the owners.
Yeah, because it's a bad vibe, right? And it spreads.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. So. I remember you made me some really good food a while ago, like years ago. I went over to your place and you had me over and you made like this. I can't remember what it was now. I think it was crab.
Yeah, we did a seafood night.
Yeah.
I think it was like 4 or 5 courses. Probably just some
mussels.
Yeah, mussels would have been in there.
Yeah.
Probably some bacon wrapped scallops.
Yeah.
And then I think it was actually queen crab at that time.
Yeah,
picked that up from T&J's.
That was awesome.
No, I remember that. That was
awesome,
a good
man.
meal.
I remember being like, "Whoa, you can seriously make some food." And those you're just like, "Yeah, man, that's what's up."
Yeah, and I've thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's also like one of the main reasons why I love cooking so much. Is I love being able to make people happy with food. Like when you see the reaction on someone's face when they're trying something, and you can tell that they're actually excited or you've shown them a new experience, or you know, that's really what makes me happy is seeing that I can do that for other people, or introduce them to something, or reintroduce them to something, or bring them back to you know, a memory.
So you said you were cooking when you were younger. Were you barbecuing?
I barbecued a bit, yeah.
What were you using?
Broil King.
Yeah?
Yeah, my parents always had Broil Kings.
Yeah, that's what
like charcoal or just
No, just
propane?
gas.
Yeah.
Like propane for the most time, and then my parents finally got a natural gas grill. But yeah, mostly that. And then when it really started to take legs was when I started working at TA, because everyone that worked there in sales was into grilling and smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Grilling and smoking,
right?
Yep,
so like it was almost contagious.
Yeah.
So I got the bug. Like I had to get a grill. I was gonna buy a grill, and I happened to be lucky enough to win one at the first company Christmas party I went to. It was a Broil King Signet. The thing was a freaking tank.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had it for 10 years.
Yep.
The only reason I got rid of it is because I put it in an outdoor kitchen. But yeah, like I absolutely loved cooking on that. And then when I started working, and then it would become almost a little bit of a competition.
Yeah.
As to, you know, who can make the best ribs.
Or the pulled pork.
Or the best pulled pork. You know, I never thought I could. I just would try. And, you know, and then I started getting some pretty good reviews. And then people that came over to my house started telling me that things were pretty good. And then about I think it's going to be 4 years ago now, in preparation of starting a family, I decided to quit drinking. And that is when it really started to excel.
Because your mind was in it.
Well, yeah, because instead of like having 6 beers and watching the hockey game, I'd watch the hockey game, and then I'd go whip something up.
That's awesome.
And not just that, like
Good
the
for
next
you,
day, you know, when you're not drinking, there's no hangovers.
You're
right?
also looking really good, man.
Thanks,
I just want to say that. Like last time I saw you, like we're big guys, but like you're looking great, man.
Thanks, man.
Actually, people were like messaging me and like, "Is that Clint? I can't believe that looks like that's Clint. I haven't seen him long. That looks so good." I was like, "Yeah, man, Clint, what's up?"
So then because I had so much free time on my hands, I'm the type of guy, like I have ADD. Like I can't just like sit around and do nothing.
0 to
like,
100.
I need to be doing something. So I focused on my job and my sales, and I focused on cooking, and those were the two things that I hit them both hard.
Yeah.
And then I was able to really, even though I considered, and most people considered myself a really good cook, but right around that point is where I really started to elevate my level and really start to get serious about things. Actually, to the point where I got too serious, where I'd have people over and I'd want to put on like a 6-course meal, which is fine to do, but when you're missing the evening with your guests and they see you just like running around like a madman, it's like it's actually almost uncomfortable for them because they would rather hang out. And like, it's great that you're putting on a meal, but and I started to like be a little too hard on myself. Like my stuff would turn out, but I know that I've done it better in the past, so I start to kind of beat myself up a bit. So I was able to catch myself in that and stop it and just kind of take it back to the basics. Yeah. So now like what I do is I make sure that everything's prepped before they get there, and I just do something. It's still good. It's still top notch, but I'm not running around like crazy. I'm able to actually spend time with the people who are there to see me. Yeah. I know they come for the food, but they are also coming to visit, right? So it's a more enjoyable experience for everyone. Yeah. Just don't just gotta not take it so seriously. Just have fun with it, and if it doesn't turn out the best, like who cares? I guarantee you that the people that are eating it are gonna think it's great. So
yeah. Nobody. It's not like you're cooking for like if you were have you ever cooked for somebody that you were like kind of scared to cook for? Or like made you nervous? Not scared. Maybe scared is the wrong word.
Yeah, like anytime I cook for a chef. Yeah, I tend to put a little extra pressure on myself, or someone that like, proclaimed foodie. Yeah. But now I'm at the point where I don't get nervous anymore. Yeah. Because I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and it's gonna turn out the best that it's gonna turn out for that time, and it usually works out. But I'm just not gonna waste any energy, with any negativity, and just have fun.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you, your food on Instagram, it pretty much looks pretty edible. So I think you're doing okay.
Like, those sandwich like
I can almost smell it through the fucking phone.
I posted like a little blurb very first. I'm like, I think I sent you. I'm like, okay, we're cool for 2 weeks Friday, and you're like, yeah, man, let's set it up. So then I just posted something just to kind of promote it. And I had people messaging me, I'm so hungry with watching those photos. Seriously, like, who is this guy? I'm like, he makes good food, man. Check out his Instagram. And they're like, it's like I'm like, the food looks awesome. Like, do you do all the prep, all the pictures? Is all at your place? Nobody helps you out?
Yeah, it's just, and essentially what it is, it's just the meals that I'm cooking for myself, my family, or for guests. Like, I'm not just cooking food to post. It's just kind of what we eat, right?
No way.
So
for real? So that stuff you're not just cooking just to look cool. You're just that's what we're eating.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. That's so rad, man. That is so cool. So you're just grilling. Like, predominantly, you're just using barbecue, using the oven? Like,
I'd say, so definitely my whole thing is I love to cook outdoors. Yeah. And it's one of the main reason I put in an outdoor kitchen is, like, especially even from about now on, like, I won't chop and prepare everything in the house. I'll bring my raw ingredients outside. Yeah. And put some music on. That's what's up. Grab one of my Grolsch .0s here.
Grolsch .0s. I saw that.
And,
I was like, what's up?
And just like, especially now that my daughter is old enough where she can help, we have a little stool that brings her up to counter height.
Oh, that's awesome.
She has her own knife set. She has her own cutting board. I had a 5-star chef at my house on Saturday. We did a collaboration meal together, and we gave her the immersion blender, and we had her blending a whole like gallon-sized can of San Marzano tomatoes. We had her picking rosemary. Like, we just had her involved, and which is great because like she loves it, and then it's even another opportunity for us to spend time together. Yeah, and she's like totally into it, and like now she always wants to help me.
That's awesome, man.
So like over the last couple days, I've been thrifting.
Thrifting?
Yeah. So I've been to a bunch of the thrift stores in town.
Like Value Village?
Yeah, that was one of them. To pick up plates and cutlery and props and things to use because I'm building an actual photo studio in my house.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm building a photo studio and a video studio. So I'm gonna have a YouTube channel.
So I was just about to ask you that.
Yeah.
If you've thought about setting up a thing like questions for Cooking with Clint, like it seems like it would just make too much sense.
Dude, and you're so animated, like people are gonna watch you. Like you're just like you know what I mean? You have that energy. Like when you say you're 0 to 100, people can feel that. Like I was kind of worried. I'm like, we're kind of like chill. So I was kind of like, oh man, we're not. I don't think I'm lively enough for Clint to come on. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to like amp up the energy. But like that would be so rad. I can't wait for that to come out. Like when's start date or?
There's a lot going on right now, but I'm hoping, and don't hold me to this, anyone.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for May.
Yeah.
For the YouTube, I'm hoping to have my photo studio in the next week or two. Like I just got some lighting in today.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas and some plans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got the YouTube channel coming, photo studio coming. And there's a bunch more.
Man, this is exciting stuff.
So you could set up like a digital voicemail, right? And then you could almost get like people to call in to like ask you questions and stuff, right?
Absolutely,
Or
and
email.
even on my Instagram page
Or
right now, like I
messages or
tell
messages.
people, like if anyone wants to know anything, like just send me a message and ask me. And everyone who's listening, like if you want to know how I'm doing anything that I'm doing, or if you want to know how to do something, just send me a message.
Yeah. So how would they get a hold of you on?
So right now,
are you mostly Instagram?
Cookin with Clint on Instagram. You can also send me an email directly at cookinwithclint@gmail. And also, everyone, it's Cookin. There's no G. It's Cookin. Cookin with Clint.
So you were saying before we started, like who helps you out? What's like sponsors wise? Like who's giving you the shout? Who's giving you what's up?
Everything's still not quite signed yet, so I don't want to.
Right.
But it's the ink's still wet, but it'll be dry soon.
Whoever you'd like to say, whoever you want to talk about, like.
In terms of the people who help me out, I gotta give a shout out to my butcher, Mr. Rob Brady, Brady's Meats. I'll get an idea at like 3 a.m. that I'm gonna need a certain cut, and I'll send him a Facebook Messenger message or whatever, and he'll make sure that I've got whatever was in that message.
Awesome.
And yeah, he takes care of me. I couldn't ask for a better arrangement.
So where is he out of?
He's out of Waterloo.
Waterloo.
He's up on Phillip and Albert Street in a little plaza there. He used to have a stand at the market as well, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, after the fire, I think he just didn't reopen. But he's a guy, he shares my passion for food, and you can really tell, like when you see him talking to customers or when you see him talking about his product, you can tell that he really loves doing what he does.
Oh yeah.
And he's a great guy. He's always willing to help or educate or, basically, he's
Does he suggest quite a bit, like stuff like maybe it's a cut that you hadn't tried before, like you were nice enough to bring in like this smells. Oh
yeah, this is from Brady's. Yeah,
yeah.
This is a perfect example. So I find myself always tending to lean towards the things that I like, and then it tends to get a little repetitive. So he's really good because I'll come in, he'll say, you know what? Why don't you give this a shot? You haven't done this before. Like, why don't you switch it up? And then a lot of the times I end up throwing that suggestion into my rotation. And it's not that I'm not seeking or searching for new ideas. I just don't always think about it. Like, I'll go in and I'll see my Wagyu Picana, and that's what I want.
What is that? What's a Wagyu Picana?
It's just the best damn steak you can get.
Really?
Yeah.
I have Wagyu burgers from like PC. Are they that good or?
I don't know. I haven't tried those, so it's hard for me to compare.
Meat though, but the meat's like the quality, like, is Wagyu the same? So it's a Japanese.
So yeah,
cow,
so
right?
So basically, what Wagyu means, it means Japanese cow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and don't they just feed them beer or something to fatten
some
them up?
do, man. It's pretty crazy actually. So, and the word's being thrown around a lot now, and I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a little bit of education here.
Let's do it.
So yeah, essentially, Wagyu means Japanese cow. It actually derives from 4 different breeds of cattle. Okay, so there's actually 4 different types of Wagyu.
Yeah, we had a cow expert come on, my buddy John.
I'd like to meet him.
Yeah, he works with the meat industry.
Meet him.
Oh God.
God.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So
Don't have a cow, man.
So he works for a major what do you call it? Meat power plant. What do you call it? I'm butchering this, and he'll just.
A meat
like a
meat
processing?
a meat
Yeah,
slaughter.
so it's like a slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse.
It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest one. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is, but he's like HR there, and we went into cows. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No,
Four types of cow.
cool.
Four types.
Four
of cow.
types of cow. Up until early 70s, late 60s, you could only get Wagyu in Japan.
Like you could only buy it in Japan.
It was only available in Japan.
Oh.
They protected that shit.
Yeah, no.
You
good.
couldn't get it outside Japan.
Yeah.
And then the story goes that some farmers had to send some samples off to some Scandinavian lab, and they literally hijacked the sperm and sold it on the black market.
Way.
Well, that would be the first time that somebody stole something from China.
Japan.
Japan.
What are you talking about?
Well, China
Oh my
steals
God.
everything else.
Whatever. This is like
Cell
Ernie's
phones.
classic things he thinks.
Cell
What?
phones.
The joke probably would have worked if you got the country right.
Yeah.
Japan.
Okay.
Let's get back
Okay.
on this. Whatever.
Okay.
So now
Back to the herd.
now you got there's American Wagyu, which a lot of it is crossed with Angus beef, which a lot of people think is a bad thing, but it's pretty damn good, man.
What's up?
So my favorite to work with though, out of all the Wagyus, and like I've worked with the Japanese, like the legit straight up stuff, but my favorite to work with is actually the Australian Wagyu. Now the majority of Australian Wagyu is also crossed, and it's crossed with an Angus type cow. But if you go with the A9, it's pretty much always 100% Wagyu. So yes, it's raised in Australia. It's not raised in Japan. It's not drinking the Japanese water and raised in the Japanese region. But it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it's about a fifth to the eighth of the price. So basically, you can get it for about the same price that your major local chain stores are charging for their premium cuts. So like
Zares or something?
yeah, or like for one of their tenderloins or one of their prime strip loins, you're gonna pay about the same price for this Australian Wagyu. And the majority of the people that I make this Wagyu for tell me straight up that it's the best steak that they've ever had.
It's really hopping off the shelf.
Were you building that one up?
Yeah,
Shut
I
up.
can see you.
I can feel him building it up.
I had
And he's
that one.
pulling back like on a freaking bowstring.
So, and I also just want to quickly talk about Kobe, like really, really quickly.
Yeah, what's that?
Because what's happening now is a lot of people are naming their company Kobe and then distributing Wagyu, and a lot of people are thinking that they're eating Kobe beef. There's like 2 restaurants in Canada, and I think about 4 in the States that actually are certified to serve and sell Kobe. So Kobe is a form of Wagyu because it is a Japanese cow. But in order for it to be Kobe, it must be raised in the Kobe region.
Oh.
And it also must be slaughtered at one of the only 2 in the world sanctioned slaughterhouses. And it must have a BMS index of 6 or higher.
Jeez,
So it's got to hit all 3 of those. And so basically only a very, very, very small percentage of the Wagyu is actually Kobe. And some of those cats, they feed them beer. Some of them will play them classical music.
I heard this.
Some massage them with bamboo and pour hot sake over them because it relaxes their muscles. Like, these cows are living a better life than 90% of the people across the world, right?
Oh my God.
So it's crazy. But yeah, so I actually haven't had Kobe myself. I have had the A5 Wagyu. But like I said, for me, the Australian Wagyu is at a price point that I can afford to eat it, once a week or once every 2 weeks, versus, having to wait 2 months to get that one Japanese.
When
right?
you're saying like A5 and stuff, is there a numbering system? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so A5 is essentially at the highest level of Wagyu that you can get, and then there's also what some people get mixed up is there's the BMS, which is actually the amount of marble or fat within the meat. So like when you see like a really high one, like it's almost like 50 to 70% white, and that's the fat.
Yeah.
But fat is
Just
flavor,
marbled.
though. Yeah.
So it's like A1 steak sauces for like an A1.
Oh, shut the fuck up. So when you go to a place like the Keg, what kind of meat are they serving? If you're getting like, let's say,
So they, unless something's changed, like they get their meat from McGregor. So it's like from a distributor. It's usually aged like 28 days. And then I don't order steak out at all. I can't order a steak at any restaurant anywhere.
Nowhere.
No.
Not even like what about even like that? Nowhere. What about
probably like some of the Toronto steakhouses, like Barbarians, like that's probably my favorite place, and that's somewhere if I'm gonna go, like I'll order a steak. But I'll try to focus on something that I don't make myself at home.
Yeah.
Like something aged? Like, would you go, like, you know how you were saying the kegs, like, we said it was 24?
28
days.
Yeah.
Have you tried it where it's like, I was hearing on, Joe Rogan was talking about, like, something that was aged almost like a year or something like that. And I saw a documentary on, I think it was Discovery, and it was in Slovenia or something like that. And it was showing the steak, that it was in this room that it stayed at this perfect temperature. And it was really interesting to watch how they prepared it, because they almost had to take like a razor.
It gets really dark, and they you know what it is? They're actually cutting the rod off.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
No way.
Yeah, they're cutting off the stuff that obviously you don't want to eat, and it was like really discolored.
How many days?
This was a long one. I don't know.
I've seen up to 2
days.
years. I've seen a prime rib aged for 2 years. Typically, 30 days is pretty. I don't want to call it standard, but it's. For the people that do age, I would consider it the standard.
Yeah. For
whatever reason, most steakhouses and restaurants claim 28, not 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, my butcher plays around with some 60 day. I don't get it a lot because I like the flavor of it, but my wife doesn't. So rather than getting a steak for myself and then a different one for her, I typically don't. But yeah, so aging, what it's doing is you're pulling the water out of the meat. Which gives you more intense flavor. Yeah. So you're getting more, because if you look at a steak, like a good portion of it is water.
Huh.
So what I actually do when I cook my steaks is I almost do almost like a faux age, where I salt it. I try to salt it at least an hour before it hits the grill.
So that's all you do is you just hit it with some salt?
Salt and pepper are my biggest weapons on steak.
And then what, cover in tin foil, let it sit in the fridge for an hour?
Yeah, let's hear the process.
Yeah, so if I'm doing a steak, I want to try to take it out of the fridge about 2 hours before I'm cooking it. People say 20 to 30 minutes, but if you were to temp a steak and take it out of the fridge and let it sit for 20 minutes, you'd see that the internal temperature hasn't raised a single degree. Maybe 1 or 2. You really need a little bit more time for it to come up to room temp. So yeah, what I like to do is I like to take my steak out of the fridge 2 hours before I'm going to cook it. And then after an hour, that's usually when I will apply my pepper first and then my salt. I only use cracked pepper, and very important, a lot of people don't know this, but you have to use a natural salt.
Like what?
Sea salt.
Yeah.
Right? The reason for that is iodized table salt, it doesn't penetrate the meat. It just forms a film on the surface. So a lot of times when people will have something that's been seasoned with table salt, they'll say, wow, this tastes really salty. And it's because it's a layer of salt right on the outside.
Yeah.
So you want to use a natural salt. To cook a really good steak, all you really need at the end of the day is salt and heat. If you have salt and heat, you can make that meat taste amazing.
Someone told me that the keg just uses garlic salt.
I couldn't tell you what they use anymore. I mean, they sell a steak spice.
Yeah. I have it. I really like it.
I don't know. I don't want to comment though because I don't know what they do anymore.
That's the one I have. I bought that, and I will not put it on there like after I'm cooking it because it's really salty. But it does taste really, really good when you put it on.
Take it 2 hours before, and then an hour.
I'll put it on. Yeah, I'll put it on before I put them on. And then obviously when I'm doing the flips, I won't add any more of it because it's just really salty.
Let's let him keep going.
Yeah, but I know I'm telling you, I have that sauce, the one that he's talking about, the keg one.
That's great.
Yeah, and then what I like to do, and a lot of people that are used to eating steak, if you eat medium rare, they're only used to actually having maybe 50 to 60% of that steak medium rare, just the inner core.
Yeah. Because
they're gonna get bullseye or gray band from when they're searing. So what I like to do is I like to get my grill as hot as possible.
Like 500 degrees?
No, like I'm talking like 1100 degrees, which most grills can't get that hot. And you don't need 1100 degrees, people, to cook a steak. But it sure as hell helps. So yeah, so what I do is when I put my steak on, I'm only searing it for 45 seconds to a minute per side. And then what I do is I actually move it over to the other side of the grill that's off. It's called cooking indirectly.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
that.
then,
style, right?
so I'll start off with the sear and then move it over to the other side and cook it indirect until my steak is anywhere, depending on the thickness, to 5 to 10 degrees before my desired doneness. So anything you take off of a heat source is going to continue to rise after you remove it from the heat source. So a steak, you're going to get a minimum of a 5-degree jump, okay? On a thicker steak, 10. I've done prime ribs that have jumped as much as 23 degrees after it comes off. So that's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're cooking, is they're cooking their meat to the temperature that they want it to finish at. But it's going to jump after it comes off.
No way.
So how long? So you put it at holy shit temperature, and then after you're done scaring the meat, how long from that to put it over the indirect? Do you leave it on the high? Like I know
so my steaks,
you're searing both sides of it. Correct?
Yeah, and then so my steaks are typically about 1.5 inches thick, unless I'm doing a fillet. A fillet I usually like because it's smaller footprint.
Yeah.
So I usually like around 2 inches on a fillet. I was starting to get into some like 2.5 to 3 inch cuts, and they looked really cool. But
that's a lot of meat.
Well, not just that though. What would happen is it wasn't really giving you a steak experience. It was more like you're eating a roast. Because that's what makes a steak. It's a thin cut. You're getting a lot of sear and a lot of char, and you're getting a texture contrast, which is one of the things that makes food taste good is contrast. Whether it's contrast in flavors or contrast in textures, right? So when you're getting into a steak, like you get a little bit of that char in with the nice tender meat, and that's part of the experience.
Good
right?
God.
So
I'm getting hungry.
So yeah, and then what I'll do is I'll move it over, and it takes like on an 1.5 inch steak, it takes probably 20 to 25 minutes to cook.
What?
Because we're doing it indirectly, so we're hitting it with a low heat. So what ends up happening is during the sear, it was on there for so quickly that I didn't actually cook into either side of the meat, and then you're using a low heat to cook it. So what ends up happening is my steak from tip to tip is medium rare instead of just the inside.
Just the middle.
Yeah,
inside.
because and plus with that doing the searing thing, you're not losing anything when you put it over to the other side. Like you're not losing.
Is that what it does when you're searing in the heat? Is that what
so, I mean, a lot of people have the impression that if you sear something, it sears in all of the juices. Well, it doesn't.
Not all of it.
It doesn't really work that way, because even when I put like a crazy hard crust on it, like you can see the steak juices coming up through the steak. So it's not completely searing it. It's more for your texture contrast. Like you can just put a steak in the oven and cook it, but again, it's gonna taste more like a roast.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to put some marks on it, and I used to be all about the pretty. I know that wild boar chops here have.
So hang on, let's stop for a second. So you brought us some what?
These are wild boar chops.
Wild boar chops.
Which is like a pork chop with a beef-like texture. So
I'm gonna bite into one. I'm like. I'm doing intermittent fasting, but I'm gonna break it just for this. I'm just gonna bite into it, see what we're doing here. Hang on.
Okay. While you're doing that, I brought you guys some other things.
Holy shit! You know, I was kidding, right?
I know. So the first thing here I want to give to you guys is this is actually one of my homemade barbecue sauces.
Oh, sweet Jesus! So guys, just if you're listening in, like I'll take a photo of it and post it on the Instagram. But this looks and smells amazing. I'm gonna bite into this. If anybody's hungry, you're about to get even more hungry.
So those actually caught on fire tonight. Oh, wow. Yeah, everyone don't try searing wild boar at 1100 degrees, because the fat tends to light up.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
See, and that's what I love, to see the reaction.
Oh, sweet Jesus in heaven, this is amazing. Oh my God.
So yeah, this is a homemade barbecue sauce that I brought for you guys to try. It's chocolate chili pepper.
Oh my God.
Is it spicy?
It's sweet with heat. So it starts off super sweet, and then it comes and kicks you right in the teeth with some heat.
So are you saying it's not boring, Jeremy?
Oh, go bore yourself. This is the best thing I've eaten like almost my whole life. Dude, this is amazing.
Thank you. Glad you like it.
I shouldn't eat the whole thing.
Wow.
Can I put a little bit on this or no?
You can if you want.
You're gonna take away from the.
Yeah, try the sauce.
I'm not gonna
eat the boar on its own and then try the sauce.
I'm not gonna cross the streams here of amazing.
Our streams.
I'm only gonna eat a little bit more. Oh my god, dude, this is awesome! Thank you so much.
No problem.
Sweet Jesus, Ernie, you wanna get on us?
No, you're good. I'm gonna save mine for later. That's
Fuck.
So back to the steak. I always thought I liked rare steak, and because that's how I'd have to order it at a restaurant to essentially get it kind of to where I want it. But when the steak is rare, it still has a little bit of a jelly-like texture on the center.
That's why I can't do it.
So I realized that what I actually love is a properly cooked medium rare steak. So I'll take my steaks usually to 122 on the grill, 120, 122, and then I'll pull it off and let it rest. And then I'll get, my roughly, 8 to 10 degree jump out of that. And then I want it to finish after resting around 130 degrees internally.
Yeah, see, whenever I go, I always want it pink.
Hang on, what's in that barbecue sauce?
It's chocolate chili pepper. So there's actually cocoa powder, baker's chocolate.
What would you put on that?
Ribs, buddy.
Oh yeah, that's ribs for sure.
Oh my god, that'd be good.
It's rib candy. When that sauce gets heated, it turns into like.
Is there
like the texture when you're eating like one of those red candy apples?
Is there a lot is there sugar in it?
There is a shit ton of brown sugar in it.
So you got to be careful then when you don't want to do that in right heat then, right?
You never really want to use any barbecue sauce with too much direct heat. If you only want to put it on like the last 2 to 5 minutes.
So that was my question.
Yeah.
I have heard of some people when they do a steak. I had it once and it was okay, but it was just really fucking saucy.
Who put sauce on a steak?
Listen. It was spicy. It was spicy, and the person that I had it by, I maybe not have been the grill master, but they sauced it, and it was really it wasn't a thick. It was kind of a thin, and they put it on every single flip, and it wasn't terrible. Now, you weren't tasting the meat by any means.
Whoa, every single flip. How many times is this guy flipping his steak?
20 times?
I was going to say 22.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that thing was moving. That thing moved more than when it was on the hooves.
Everybody listening to me, stop playing with it.
So you're saying, hang on.
Stop spinning the sausage. Leave the lamb alone.
Do you have a clothing line yet?
Not yet.
Put the meat either put the meat down or don't. What was it?
Stop playing with it.
Stop playing with your meat.
Stop playing with it. Just let it cook. Let the heat treat the meat.
What about the sausages? Shouldn't you slice little? Aren't you supposed to? No.
Sausages I slice.
So today I was doing a cooking demo, and
he did sausages.
My probe. It was going too quick, so I knew something was up, so I pulled the probe out. Right now, if I were to show you guys the picture of the 3 sausages, the one that the probe was pulled out of, and the other 2, the one looked like it was almost half the size. So you never want to poke, cut, or do sausage. You want to let all that.
What if they blow up?
Well, you don't want them to blow up.
Is that too much heat then?
Could be. Could just be a shitty sausage.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I get mine from my butcher.
I'm weird. I always my sausages. I always like the inside cooked, and I'm weird, so I always cut mine in half.
No. So what you want to do is you want to go out and get yourself a meat probe. Don't spend $100 on one because it's gonna last just as long as one that's $20. What happens is they all malfunction at the point where the wire meets the probe. So even if you the unit itself is better techno, it doesn't matter. They're gonna break at the same point. So just go to I get mine at Zehrs, their PC brand. They're $16.
Yeah.
Put the probe in the sausage. Sausage is one of the things I'll actually take up to 175 internally. There's so much fat inside that it can take it. You can probably even take a sausage up to 185, 190 internal and still have it to be juicy.
So if you have 6 sausages
just probe one.
Yeah, okay.
And then they're all going to be pretty close. Especially if you're going up past that 165, they're still going to they're going to be pretty close. So as long as your cooking source has somewhat even heat, then you're going to be good. So when I'm cooking 4 steaks or 6 sausages or whatever, I only usually probe the one. And then the other ones are going to be close enough to that. So yeah, so please don't, like, if you've been cutting your sausages, do me a favor and just go out and even buy like a cheap like sausage from the store, cook it and not cut it, and just eat. I forgot like one of the most important parts that we haven't talked about yet. I was getting there with my steak story.
Sorry, man.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
We don't want to.
That's okay. That's okay.
We'll go back.
So, another thing I want to say, other than stop playing with it, is just let it rest, guys.
Oh yeah, it's gotta
How
sit
do you let
too,
it
doesn't
rest?
So anything that comes off your grill, even if it's a thin steak, like you gotta let it rest for at least 5 minutes. I've done some time lapse videos in the past. So what happens when you're cooking something is all of the juices, everything is forced to the middle, right? And you can actually see it swell up. Like if you time lapse a steak, or like those, if I time lapse those board chops, you see them, they swell. And that's the heat driving all of the moisture to the center. So if you take that cut off and you slice into it right away, or if you serve your guests a steak right off the grill and they slice into it, all the juices are going to run right out onto the plate.
I have seen that. That's why that happens.
Yeah, so I did a demo at the Toronto Home Show, and I took one sausage on one cutting board, and I had 5 sausages on the one cutting board. I cut the sausage on the one right after it came off the grill, and then I cut the other 5 on the other one. And the cutting board that I cut the 5 sausages on had like a fraction of the amount of juice as the one sausage that just came off the grill.
No way.
So 5 sausages produce maybe, I don't know, call it half the amount of juices that one unrested sausage.
So all meat you have to let sit.
All meat
Not
has
just
to rest.
steak.
No, and the
What about a hamburger?
Even a hamburger, man.
No way.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Anything, any sort of meat that you're cooking, you need to let it rest after it comes off.
Like minimum 5. It doesn't matter what it is.
So when we're talking steaks, depending on thickness, like we're talking like minimum 5 minutes. And a lot of people think that your food's getting cold during that rest. But what did we talk about earlier? What happens after it comes off?
The temperature rises.
It rises.
Yeah.
So if you actually temp the steak right when it comes off the grill, and then you temp it 5 minutes later, it's going to be hotter 5 minutes later. So the food's also, because there's fat in there and the fat heats up more, the meat's actually continuing to cook.
That's what I've heard that, yeah.
Because it's almost, think of it as a delayed reaction. Like when you put something in the oven and it's 400 degrees, that inside isn't getting that 400 right away. It's almost like a delay. So like if you were to turn your oven or your barbecue up to like 400 degrees for like 20 minutes and then turn it down, you would notice that you wouldn't actually see the major jump till about 40 minutes later. Because there's that delayed reaction from when the heat gets to when it actually gets inside. It's really crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, let it rest. So like when I'm doing like a turkey or a prime rib or like a brisket or like beef ribs, I'm letting that rest for like an hour.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And the prime rib I just did, I let rest an hour. It was a 7 bone. I think it was like 15 pounds. That one was still too hot when I cut it. I could have let it rest probably an hour and a half. And it's still just screaming.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
At what temperature are you cooking that roast though?
So I used to do a sear at the end, but as I mentioned, like the prime rib that jumped like 26 degrees or whatever, the jump is too unpredictable when you sear at the end. Now, when you sear at the beginning, especially if you're using a smoker, what happens is that sear actually blocks the smoke penetration. So what I started doing recently is I do a midway sear. So if I'm doing something on the smoker, I'll let it hit with smoke for a couple hours first, then I'll sear it in the middle, and then I'll continue the cook. And then what happens is I get a much more predictable jump at the end, but I've still developed an excellent amount of crust or texture.
Yeah, from this.
So if you're gonna smoke something, there's no sense in searing it right away because you're not really getting the full potential.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, and that's why a lot of people that cook steaks on their smoker, they're doing a reverse sear, which is the big buzz right now. Reverse sear.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad way to cook a steak. Like, don't hate me for saying that. But what happens when you do a reverse sear is you're cooking the steak till about 10 to 20 degrees before your desired doneness, and then you're searing it. So what do you think is going to cook more into the steak if you're searing something raw or you're searing something that's 80% cooked? The one that's 80% cooked.
Yeah.
So you're going to start to cook into the meat when you're reverse searing. Plus, you're only putting that hard texture on at the end. When you do the sear at the beginning, that texture develops throughout the cook.
No way.
So my method gives you a tip-to-tip, medium rare, or whatever doneness you're going for, but you're also getting a lot of texture, and then you're also getting a predictable jump.
In temperature.
How are you doing? Yeah. Are you using the temperature, the thermometer, or are you?
My barbecue actually doesn't even have a thermometer on it. So what I use an infrared heat gun, which actually is a good idea for people to get, even if your barbecue does have a temp gauge, which most do, because your dome temp and your surface temp are two completely different things. And to kind of, depending on what you're doing, you really kind of want to know what you're.
So assuming that your thermometer is working correctly,
yeah.
I like the one I have at home. I've got an old Weber, and it's like I'll jack it up to like 350. I put them on for. I only flip them 4 times because I learned that.
Steak or burger?
Yeah, steak. Everything I only try and do it 4 times because I've heard you don't want to play with your meat, and then
you go blind.
But you go
with it.
Yeah, because you go cross-eyed. So. You do it like you do. I do 2 flips longer, and then the last 2 are shorter, and then I turn the temperature down and I make them. Sorry. I do the first 2 are shorter but higher temperature, and then I turn the temperature down, and then they go on longer. They'll go like 6 or 7 minutes or something.
How did you come up with that?
It's just because I've heard of this. I've heard of this searing, and then like you go hard at first, and then you slow it down low and slow.
So then, like what you'd want to do, you're kind of almost there. So what you're doing though is you're searing the one side more than the other. It sounds like.
No, both of them are the same.
Oh, so you're doing boom and then flip and then turn it down
and then turn it down. And
so yeah, that's almost. So what you'd want to do is sear it and then actually move it away from the direct heat and then cook indirectly, and you're gonna get a more even cook on it.
I could even make it hotter too, couldn't I? Then
no, it depends really too. Like, you're talking burgers? Are you a well done burger guy?
See, here's the problem. This is where I was going with that. So I have 2 people in the house that like it well done, and I like it medium well, but it always just turns out well done just because that's how they want it, and I just forget about the 2 of them. Is there a method that you use other than the thermometer to realize when the well done one is done and when the medium well one's done, other than using a thermometer?
So I do. I can just tell by looking.
Like I can poke it. Like I've learned it depending on where I'm getting the meat from.
That doesn't always work.
True.
It doesn't.
Because that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I'm poking it, and this one feels.
If you look and let it sit, or even if you just remove it from the heat, like if you think it's done, you take it off. Watch it. You'll actually see the color of the juices that are coming up. So that tells you where you're at. But I have a solution for you. So you got your 2 people that like well dones, right? Mm-hmm. And then just you likes the more medium rare.
My father-in-law likes it as medium, same.
So what kind of burgers are you buying though to cook the medium rare? Because you got to be careful. Like I wouldn't just be buying ground beef, because what happens like when beef is ground, it's not just put through the grinder one time. It's put through multiple times. So what happens is like when the beef goes through the grinder the first time, it's fine. But then you've got all this beef residue all over the grinder, and you're not at a food safe temperature unless you have your grinder in a fridge, which most people don't. So what happens is when the second time that beef goes through, it's essentially you're picking up bacteria.
Oh, okay. No way.
So I get my ground beef, I get single ground, which you're not going to pick up the bacteria. I'm not buying ground beef. I actually buy custom mix, and if anyone wants to try my custom mix, you can just go to Brady's and ask for Clint's mix. It's sirloin brisket and oh my god,
where's
Chuck? Sorry, Chuck.
Where's Brady's?
Philip and Albert
in Kitchener.
Waterloo.
That's done by the university, right?
Pretty close,
but
yeah. But yeah. So to get back to your burgers, though, like, so what are you using for your ground beef?
We're using ground beef, and we make them by hand.
Yeah, I'd be careful with that. Like, I'm not saying you're gonna get sick for sure, but you got to be careful, especially with ground beef. So our Canadian grocery stores are actually allowed to put up to 20% filler in product without disclosing it on any packaging.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, the hamburgers, I don't fuck around with the hamburgers just because I can't do red meat in hamburgers. It's got to be at least slightly brown. I mean, slightly gray or brown or whatever the heck it is.
Right.
But yeah, with the hamburgers, I don't really fuck around with that too much.
So what are you trying to cook then that you're getting
steak?
Oh, it's steak.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's simple. Just buy their steaks thinner than yours, and then when theirs are done, yours will still be pink. But yeah, so my burger solution would have been, if you were trying to do like a medium rare versus too well, is make them double patties, and then essentially when their patties are cooked through, if yours is twice as thick, it'll still be enough pink in there to make you happy. But yeah, man, just go out and get a probe. They're like $18, and like I don't really need a probe. Like I can hit it 9 times out of 10, but rather than even have to think about it, and I just hit it 10 out of 10 times and just have the probe. And again, it goes back to being able to enjoy your time, being able to enjoy your company, being able to enjoy what you're doing more than just worrying about what's cooking.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the other thing too, is because like with the little one at home, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta put my timer on my phone. It's like, okay, 6 minutes for this one, then 4 minutes. Okay, I remember as soon as I'm done this second 4 minute, I gotta turn the temperature up and then move them to the back.
So you should clock yourself in for a good 25-minute round for a steak.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do my method, and then keep in mind the 5 for the rest as well.
Yeah.
So
half an hour.
Yeah, about that. And then, so here's another thing too that will be really helpful for all you guys. Like most people can cook. Like most people know how to cook a steak or cook a roast, and then most people know how to cook potatoes, and most people know how to cook vegetables. But the art isn't in the cooking; it's in the timing. So it's having everything ready at the same time. So pro tip for all you home cooks and everyone out there, try to pick a side that takes as long to cook as your meat takes to rest.
5 minutes.
Well, that's for a steak, but if you're doing a roast or something, right, it's going to take longer. So, for example, one of the things I love to cook with steak is asparagus, because it only needs about 5 minutes on the grill.
Just like
so, the steak comes off, the asparagus goes on, and by the time the asparagus is done, your steak's rested and ready to eat.
Ready to eat.
So, and then, same thing I was talking about the turkeys and the prime ribs before. Potatoes take about an hour in the oven. Yeah. Right? Your vegetables take about a half hour. So once your turkey comes out, you put your potatoes in, and then set a timer for a half hour. Your vegetables go in, and then it all comes out, and it's all ready at the same time, right? Simple, right? But if you
gotta
do it, and then everything's ready to be served at the same time. Your meat's rested, so everyone's gonna get a nice juicy cut, even if it's closer to the fully cooked side. And just try to pick sides that take the amount of time to cook that your meat takes to rest.
I gotta ask, I know this is another one to get into, but like, what's a good way to make a good pulled pork? I love pulled pork, and I make it sometimes, but like, from buying the meat to the end process, like, what's the best way to make a good pulled pork?
So, for a lot of this stuff like pulled pork and brisket, the biggest secret is just time. Time and love. So like a pork is gonna take on a smoker, like usually you're buying in the 10-pound range for a pork shoulder.
So a 10-pound pork shoulder.
Yeah, you're anywhere from 10 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
On that.
So you're smoking it in a Traeger, right?
I use I have a couple different grills and barbecues and smokers.
Sorry, I just
at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of the ones that I do use. So yeah, like on something like that, you got to be aggressive too, especially with the seasoning. Like you have 10 pounds of meat that's gonna get shredded, so you can really put as much as you want on the outside.
So you're not putting any sauce on till the end, right?
So the sauce doesn't go on until it's actually pulled.
Yeah.
And like the purists, they want the sauce on the side because you can hide behind sauce. Like if your pork doesn't taste that good, you can go to TA and get some Big Sid's cherry sauce and just smother it in that.
I do like that Big Sid's cherry sauce.
Yeah, man. Like it's gonna taste awesome, and even if the pork tastes like shit, like it's still gonna come out good, right?
Yeah, I was thinking for this sauce, doing a pulled pork with that. That'd be awesome.
that would work. It's a little bit thicker, so I'd probably cut it with maybe like a little bit of vinegar or something to give it more of like that.
I'm
Carolina
thinking a little
taste.
bit on the bun.
Yeah, that would work if you put some of that on. If you just like went straight up like pulled pork and then put that sauce on the bun, that would be good.
What about that on a hamburger?
Yeah, man. I don't think there's much that sauce wouldn't taste good on
a salad.
Actually.
I was gonna say,
you know what? I can make a salad.
That on some asparagus.
So, 10-pound to 14-pound pork shoulder.
Yeah, 10 pounds going to be about 10 to 14 hours. So the easiest way to tell if it's done is, first of all, if you're buying pork shoulder, and we should even talk about what pork shoulder is. Pork shoulder is actually a picnic and a Boston butt. So when people say they're buying pork shoulder, they're usually not. They're usually buying just a picnic roast. There's only one place I know of around that sells whole shoulder. It's in Brantford. So usually around here, if you're getting a pork shoulder quotations, it's just a picnic roast. But the actual whole shoulder is the picnic roast with the Boston butt attached. Picnic roast has a big, like, round bone, almost looks like a femur. Boston butt has a long, flat bone. The way you tell either of them are done is you turn the bone. If there's any sort of pull or resistance, it's not done yet. So when you can pull or turn the bone without any resistance, that's when it's time to come off.
Nice. And that's better to do something on, like, say, charcoal or
some sort of wood source. Yeah, for sure. Like charcoal or wood or pellets or hickory.
Long term, 14 hours on the wood.
10 to 14. Yeah, I usually like to wrap it for like the last couple. And then if you want to do it just like pretty simple way with the temp probe is you smoke the pork anywhere from 225 to 250 until the internal temperature hits about 160 degrees. And then at that point you wrap it and then you take it to 200. And then once you take it to 200, what are we going to do when we pull it off?
You're going to let it wait.
You're going to play
with it.
Play with it.
The meat.
Yeah, you're going to let it rest, right?
For like what? For pork?
I mean, so when I've done pork shoulders, a lot of times I've done a lot of events with pork shoulder. I've wrapped pork shoulder in tin foil and towels and put it in a cooler. And 12 hours later, it's still too hot to pull.
12
hours later. Still too hot to pull. Yeah, so it's going to stay hot for a long time. So yeah, like I would take it off depending on when you want to serve it. You know, I would still let it rest for at least an hour before you try to pull it.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And then you want to get the good thick gloves. Like dish gloves aren't going to do you any good. You need to get like the thick rubber barbecue gloves.
Yeah.
Now, when you say let it rest, are you doing anything to it other than just putting it on a plate and staring at it?
Drinking beer and talking to your friends.
Okay. Same thing with steak?
Same thing with steak, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If the steaks are thinner and you are worried about the timing, you can wrap in tin foil, which helps keep your temperature up, but you are going to lose some texture because you're going to get condensation.
I was going to say I've wrapped them in tin foil once and I hated it.
Yeah, so
I don't do it anymore.
A tent, you're going to not keep in as much heat, but you're not going to get as much condensation.
I try and let them sit for the 5 minutes. They never end up lasting on the plate for that long, but I don't cover them anymore, and I like it.
Touch the meat.
Stop playing with it.
So like a good burger, you were saying before, so go to, like, if you were to go, for instance, people who are like aren't going to go to a butcher, they're just going to go and grab like a box of burgers, like PC brand from Zales.
Yeah, just cook them fully then.
So what temperature was the perfect temperature to cook a burger at?
So there's a lot of charts out there for doneness, and I mean it's funny because I'm in a lot of groups online, and like you'll have someone ask like what's medium rare, and there will be 6 people that will post 6 different temperatures, but it's not them saying temperatures, it's like temperatures from charts that they found. And even like some of the remote temperature probes that I own, they're completely out to lunch. So I'm going to explain my doneness, and I'm going to explain why I came up with it. And it's really simple. If you take a steak and you cook it to 160 degrees internally, the steak's well done. There's no pink in it. So it's well done. So therefore, 160 is well done. Then you've got a total of 5 different donenesses. So medium well, there has to be enough temperature fluctuation for there to be a noticeable difference. So 10 degrees. So medium well is going to be 150. Then your medium is 140. Medium rare is 130. And then your rare is 120. If you want to get into blue rare, 115, and then blue is 110. But those are
walking off the fucking plate. At that point.
I'm not down with that. Like,
oh man.
No, but yeah, like I can do a rare, but no, medium rare is my favorite. So yeah,
I like medium rare, medium.
So what you're going for in a medium rare? Now keep in mind, like even though 130, if it goes up to 135, you're still in that medium rare range, right? Yeah. The other thing too is different meats have different colors. Like if you look at a ribeye versus a tenderloin, and you cook them both to the same doneness, the tenderloin is going to look like it's at least one step less than the ribeye. The ribeye is more of like a light pale pink, and then your tenderloin is going to be like a really deep red.
It's still the same texture too,
Same texture, but the color is completely different. It's like when I post my steaks, a lot of people say that they're raw, and I have to tell them, don't look at the color, look at the texture. There's complete fiber development. There's no jelliness. Like it's cooked. It's just cooked better than you're used to seeing it.
Yeah. No.
What is the most interesting piece of meat that you've cooked so far?
Interesting.
Like, have you done like an
Like
like
most
an elk?
obscure,
like an elk? Have you done like a bear?
Well, this
like
is
a
boar,
moose?
right? You
Yeah,
said
that's
boar.
wild boar. I'm just trying to think. That's a good question, man. I can't even.
Like, have you
I don't
done
even
deer
know.
before?
I've gotten a little bit of deer. I played around with some moose meat. But yeah, I don't know. I guess as far out there I've gone on the meat side would probably be some wild boar. What I brought you guys to.
Not that isn't far
Yeah.
fetched
I
by
haven't
any
even
means.
tried it yet. That is amazing. I'm not even a pork guy. Don't like pork. I don't like.
What?
No, don't like it.
You had bacon for supper when I came
I
over.
like bacon.
Well, bacon doesn't count, man. That's like its own food category.
true.
Who
Exactly.
doesn't like
True.
anyone
like-
who doesn't like bacon is a liar.
is a walking pretend lizard. You're not a real person. You're one of those lizard people from the beyond the earth that are conspiring to kill us all if you don't like bacon. That's for sure.
What are you, a flat Earth person or what?
No way. Just saying, man. If you don't like bacon, and if you don't like, what was the other guy? Someone said that the other day to me. Like, if you don't like bacon, and if you don't like music, any kind of music, if you're just like, I hate music in general, I like it quiet, you're a lizard person. You shouldn't exist.
Yeah, that person definitely can't be trusted.
Yeah. You can't
No.
trust them.
You don't like bacon or music? No trust.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we're
so-
not friends.
So you're making a burger. You're just buying it from PC brand Zares. What temperature are you making your barbecue?
So the barbecue itself,
Yeah.
so there's a couple different ways you can cook the burger. I actually like to do burgers on a flat surface.
Mm.
So cast iron
griddle?
pan, or I've got a flat top on my grill. I use that because again that texture. So when you sear a burger on a flat surface, you're getting that char on the entire patty versus just getting your char marks
On the cast iron.
Yeah.
Are you doing the same thing where you're just charring it first and then let it go slow?
Yeah, burgers are usually pretty thin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause they'll
especially if
go
you're buying
quick.
something
They'll go
prepackaged.
quick.
So a burger, you can actually get away with just cooking directly
Just right.
on the flat surface, probably like 3 to 4 minutes aside,
Yep.
and then for that,
4 times, people.
And not frozen.
Right?
no, for the burger, you only want if you're cooking on a flat surface, you only want to flip it once.
What if you're doing cast iron on a barbecue?
Same once,
And not
because the whole
frozen,
reason
right?
you're doing that is you want to build up that texture and that crust. So
Once.
the more you're flipping it, it's not. Stop playing with it, man.
You flip a burger once.
Yeah, man, one time. So I'll usually
One
do a flip,
time.
and that's usually when I add my cheese as well.
So if you're bringing the barbecue up, you said 250?
No, so burgers, I don't know. I do everything hotter, right?
Yeah.
So let's say for the most people, I'd say like in the 500-degree range.
5.
Wow, if you're only
450
flipping it
to 5.
fucking once.
Yeah,
I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
yeah. That's really that's not that hot.
Okay.
455.
Like I got a good Bro King, and those are things that have a lifetime warranty.
Your Bro King probably does 850 though.
Yeah. Like I could put that puppy
they're
up.
steak machines, man.
Yeah.
Would you get a charcoal? Do you think?
I'm planning on getting a pellet smoker.
the
the
Traeger?
or like a little Tex or something. I'm planning on getting one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. That's what I'm planning on getting.
Charcoal's pretty cool too. Like
Like a little Weber.
little
Yeah,
Weber
yeah.
kettle or
Yep.
something like that, something to play around with. The only thing is like it all depends on like what you want to do. Like charcoal's more like you're gonna be out chilling for the day,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it does require some monitoring.
Yeah.
I was
right?
gonna say I thought about getting one of those little ones, and I didn't know, like, I don't think I'd use it for steak. I don't know if I
What
would.
do
It
you
would
use
just
it
take a
for?
long
I
time.
used I have a charcoal, and I used it exclusively for burgers and corn
Corn.
on the cob.
I've never
Yeah.
had grilled corn.
Oh, so you don't grill it, you smoke it. So you leave the corn in the husk,
I've heard that.
and then you
What?
soak it in water for at least an hour, and
Yeah.
then you cook it at about 300 degrees on a smoker or a charcoal grill for an hour. And then you take it off and you peel it back, and you won't ever reach for butter again, because it's just like the flavor that the husk. It's amazing.
Or salt.
I don't put anything on my corn.
So for those of us that don't have
No.
a smoker, could you use one of those? Do you know what I'm talking about? Those little metal cases where you can make the
smoke box.
the smoke boxes.
Smoke box,
on,
and what's
in
even
a
better is the
barbecue?
smoke tubes. Yeah, but you don't even need to do that. Just take some of this tinfoil right here
Yeah,
and take some wood chips.
I have.
Yo,
Okay, so we make a smoke pack,
check
right?
out my post. I did. I was out east last summer, and everyone was begging me to make ribs, but no one had a smoker out there. So I turned my uncle's barbecue into a smoker. And take a look at the video, because the amount of smoke I've got rolling out of that thing is insane. But yeah, that's all you do is you make for ribs. You're gonna make like 4 to 5 smoke pouches. Make them ahead of time, so that way as soon as one's done.
Yeah.
Because with this, you need to keep your lid closed. Because if you're looking, you ain't cooking.
Yeah.
And you're also going to lose all your smoke that you've
That's where
worked
the
to build.
thermometer would come in handy
Exactly.
too, right?
So you only essentially want to lift the lid when it stops smoking to only replace the smoke pack. But yeah, you just put wood chips, you soak half of them, you leave half dry, put them in a tinfoil packet, poke some as many holes as you can with it still keeping together, and put it right on your barbecue burner. Turn on just that burner.
So sorry.
No way.
So when you
make it
say
like convection style.
Sorry. So when you say put it right on the burner, so I have my Weber has those triangle
take the flavor
waves.
waves
So you take
out.
the flavor wave off,
Take the flavor waves
and
out.
put it directly
right on the burner, man.
Yeah. On the grill, right?
buddy.
Take the grill out too, man.
And you're talking wood chunks. Buy the wood chunks.
Yeah,
wood
but soak,
chips.
but you got to soak them,
chunks
right?
whole- Soak half of them.
Half of them.
Half of them. So that way you got to mix it wet and dry. The dry will
Like how-
ignite off the start, and then the wet will pick up. Once
Would
they
you say
dry
like a good handful is enough for a pack?
How big are your hands?
I got Chinese assembly hands, so they're pretty small.
Maybe 2 handfuls for you,
assembly
Ernie.
hands. Let's not say that again. Anyway,
Korean.
so when like we're looking at like a foot by foot container right in front of us, how big of a box you're making just for like if I want to smoke some burgers, like let's say
So like I would make them the smoke pouches essentially about the size of the burner, but a little bit wider so that it has something to sit on.
yeah.
So I'll make it the whole length of the burner, and then a little bit wider than the burner, and then the smoke pouches will usually last about an hour to an hour and a half, and then you want to try to get your dome temp to about 225. And you're not going to want to have heat underneath the meat. You're only going to want to have heat on the smoke burner.
How long? So if I heat up the one side of the burner, let's say I have a broken, and I put it to the medium, to the middle point, and I have my chips going. How long do you think I should keep those burgers on?
He said temperature though. He didn't say whatever medium is.
Sorry.
Right?
Temperature.
Yeah,
just
so
said
I don't know if I'd go through the effort of building a smoker
Just
to
for a
do
couple
burgers.
Yeah.
Only because they're not going to be on there long enough to really
Yep.
get that smoke penetration.
Okay.
But I'm more talking like ribs or like a roast or something that's going to take a
Like
little
your
bit
pulled
longer.
pork, right?
Yeah, or like your pulled pork.
Okay.
Something like that. But yeah, I mean, like, sure, you can do that. A burger at like the 225 to 250, which is your smoking temperature, burger's probably going to take you 45 minutes.
How long does the corn take doing that?
An hour.
method?
Hour.
Really?
Hour in the 300 range.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all temperature. We're just talking temperature here. We're just
For
talking
the most
time.
part, yeah. You don't cook to time. You cook to temp for the most part.
Man.
Could you do a smoke pack with a charcoal grill? I know it'd be harder.
Well, you don't need to.
I guess then
with
you
the
would. Yeah,
charcoal
you're right.
grill,
Yeah.
you're burning off wood. Like
Yeah.
charcoal's just burnt wood.
Just charcoal.
Just make sure you buy real charcoal. And when I say real charcoal, you're buying 100% natural lump. It should look like burnt wood. It shouldn't look like a nice little round uniform, because those are manufactured
Is it better to make your own?
Oh.
to make your own charcoal.
I know the charcoal
That'd
you
be
talk about.
badass. That'd be badass if you did. But yeah, I'm sure that would be great. But yeah, it'd be a lot of work and a lot of time because you'd have.
Well,
to,
I'm just thinking if you wanted to have like a drunk campfire the night before, and then you got charcoal.
That'd be badass. Yeah.
So then, what would you do to smoke something with the charcoal then?
Automatic.
It's
Yeah.
nothing.
It just does it
You're
automatically.
You're smoking. So
Yeah.
what people will
really?
do with the charcoal grill is they'll add wood chips, or what you were talking about is
that's
wood
what I was just
chunks.
gonna ask you.
So you can add
Yeah.
it, but you're gonna get a natural smoke flavor from just the charcoal. Some people don't like it though. It could come across as too strong.
Overwhelming, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you get a little bit of the bitter smoke. There's two types of smoke. There's clean smoke and dirty smoke, essentially. But yeah, like not everyone likes the taste of charcoal. Some people swear by it. Some people will only cook on charcoal. I like it on certain things. I really do.
I've never actually cooked anything on charcoal. I think I could handle it once I figured out how to get the temperature just right.
I've made burgers off a bonfire.
But yeah, like you put burgers on a charcoal grill. Like you guys know the place Weber's, like the place everyone that goes to. Like that's all they do. They cook it on. They cook the burgers on charcoal. And the place has a freaking lineup, right?
Yep. They actually built that bridge so you could.
So
both
you can
sides
go
could
over.
cross.
Yeah.
I know once you have heat, you can cook something. I realize that. It's just
Yeah.
I've never actually gone through the step
I'll
of
get
starting
one.
it. And
I'll get a little Weber this summer, and we'll have Clint over and we'll
Fart
do a little
around
powwow.
But yeah, like on my charcoal, I literally use it for burgers and corn.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you have one of those Japanese style cooking domes? Do you have one of those? Do you cook with one of those? No. Okay.
No. I don't know what
The dome.
I know I don't have one, but.
Like I think they're called the green eggs.
Oh, you're talking about. So yeah, that's a Komodo style cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have one of those right now.
Yeah.
I may be getting one in the near future.
Yeah.
Those, so if someone's looking to get something that will do everything, that's the way to go.
Those things are fucking heavy.
They are,
yeah.
yeah. I would look at a keg over any of the other ones.
Kegs?
Yeah, because like to get a like one of the eggs that's like completely, because you need some accessories. Like you're gonna want the side shelves,
Yep.
you're gonna want cast iron, you're gonna want some things for it.
Yep.
You're up to like $2,000 for one.
Yeah.
And then the other problem with them is the legs, the nest that you can buy for them is so damn flimsy.
Yeah,
the metal one? I just about cut my finger off trying to get the fucking thing in there.
There's probably been like 15 or 20 customers that I've dealt with over the years that their egg is smashed because it fell over on that.
I didn't build it.
I knocked one over.
Versus you get something like a keg and it's built out of steel and it's got a solid base, so like you can almost body check it. It's not going to knock over, and if it does, you might dent it, but you're still able to use it.
Don't they sell those wooden tables for it though?
You can get the tables, but a lot of people aren't spending the money,
But
or they don't have the
once they
space.
realized what the fucking metal one looks like, that
It's
flimsy
really
ass damn
flimsy.
thing. Oh yeah.
And I don't mean to disparage, like it's a great product.
Yeah.
It still is. It's probably like the most popular out of all of them. But for me, I'm just looking at the value, and I'm all about spending money on something if it's worth it. But if I can't justify the price difference, kind of like how I eat Australian Wagyu instead of Japanese.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna go with the best value.
Yeah.
And when you look at the quality that you're getting with the Broil King, like
Yeah, you get the warranty.
if I'm gonna get one, that's definitely what I'll be getting is the Broil King keg.
Yep.
And then we're supporting local. It's
Yeah.
Waterloo-based company. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paid me for years.
Yeah, man.
Sign my check.
So what else do you guys want to know about? We've talked about steak. We've talked about burgers.
I really wanted to hear about that pulled pork because I always like making it. It's my favorite thing to make and my favorite thing to eat. It's my favorite thing. So when you I don't think we asked that, but do you have to cut off certain parts of it's called a pork shoulder, but you're saying it's like a butt and something.
Yeah, so like I said, pretty much everyone that's cooking pork shoulder we're cooking picnic roast here. That's what I see in almost all the stores is the picnic roast.
So do you have to cut stuff off?
No, like there's going to be usually a thick flap of skin on it.
Yeah.
And then there's a ton of fat on it, but again, fat is flavor.
So just leave it.
Just leave it.
Throw it on the grill.
Just leave it. Now, if you want to start talking fat side up, fat side down, that's a whole different argument. And there's really no right answer because there's people that swear one way, people that swear the other. I do personally, what I do is when it's on the rack, which means it's not wrapped, I typically, whether I'm doing a brisket or I'm doing pulled pork, I go fat side up.
So it melts down or what?
Yeah, but you don't exactly. So it's gonna melt down into it, and then what I do is when I go to wrap it or braise it, that's when I'll do fat side down. I think if you do fat side down when it's on the smoker, I think you're gonna lose some of that fat that would technically be basting the meat. So that's the reason why I do it. I'm not saying that it's right because I've recently seen some tests where they've done it both ways, and depending on who's doing the test, one of them comes out better than the other. So I don't really think there is a right answer for that. But yeah, I leave it, like if I do a pork shoulder, I'm like, I don't even touch it. I just rub it and give it some love. Another tip is to use yellow mustard as a binder for your rub.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't making your own rubs, like you're usually paying like between like $10 and $15 for a small small shaker of rub, right? So if half it's on the counter that's already touched, like you're not going to reuse it because it's been in contact with the pork, right? So you end up throwing out half of your $10 or $15 rub. So if you use yellow mustard as a binder, it will not, I don't care if you don't like mustard, you will not taste it at all. Okay.
No way.
It's just gonna, if you use Dijon, you will, but regular yellow mustard, like the good old Frank's or No Name or whatever, good old fashioned yellow mustard, and just rub it all over, then you can get away with all your rub's gonna stick.
It's like meat glue.
It's like meat glue.
Yeah.
But the kind of meat glue that you want to eat, not the kind of
yeah.
stuff that they're putting in our food without telling us.
Yeah,
And then
filler.
and then you sauce it after you let it sit,
pull it.
After you let it
yeah, if you want to sauce it, then that's the time to do it.
Or you were saying certain people have the sauce on the side.
Yeah, like the purists,
Yeah.
the hardcore barbecue
Yeah.
people. They want to know what your pulled pork tastes like, and then they want to add their own sauce. Or sometimes, like I've even seen guys like where they'll have like 3 or 4 different sauces. They'll take a bite, put a little squirt of like something sweet on, put a little squirt of like something more vinegary or something like spicier, or they'll mix them. I find that the masses they like it sauce though.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm making it for a party, I'll usually sauce it, or if there's enough that I'm making, I'll leave some of it unsauced, leave a couple of my homemade sauces with them for them to try it, and then kind of let them do their own
So
thing.
you gonna start selling your own sauces or what?
I don't know if I want to get into that route. I know a couple guys that have, and it's a tough go, because even if you can get your sauce in a bunch of places, and even if you can sell a lot, like there's still a lot more to that. Like I was talking to my one buddy, and he was telling me that like essentially even if he were to double his volume that he's doing right now, he'd only end up making almost an additional percent. Just crazy numbers. So I don't think that's the route I want to go. I'm not saying that I'll never have one, but it seems to already be a very crowded segment.
Yeah.
So it's hard enough to get the shelf space, and then once you do get the shelf space, it's really hard to do it. My other problem too is like for example, like that's a chocolate chili pepper. Like I couldn't sell that. Like the ingredients, like chocolate, it's not that cheap, right? Like
well, thanks for bringing that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, don't worry about that. But like,
bills in the mail.
Yeah, you wanna. if I were to do a sauce, I'd have to find out a way to make it with more basic ingredients, because pretty much everything I make like has
something nice.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense too if you're gonna be doing your own thing. You're gonna be cooking for yourself, getting a little bit of backing by companies, having your own sauce, and then having like maybe if you do like a competition, this is my sauce, and you're gonna try it out. Like. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, like I'll have sauces, they just won't be available.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, like I already have like
I've
got like 4 sauces that.
So, are you doing any competitions or anywhere people could eat your food this summer?
So I did one event last year. It was SCA, so Steak Cooking Association. It was actually a sanctioned event. I went up against there's like 30 some teams there, if I remember correctly. And I ended up entering the burger and the steak category. My sponsorship, they were supposed to provide me with a grill. It's the same grill I have at home. It fell through. So like a week before the competition, I had to completely readjust, and TA actually helped me out, and they loaned me a Broil King keg. And to cook on for the competition. So I ended up using that. It was a brand new grill. I've never cooked on it before myself at the time.
No way.
And yeah, I ended up placing 7th in steak and 8th in burger.
Nice, man.
And the only people that placed ahead of me were people that were pros, like travel teams. Like the one guy was from Texas, or people from Montreal.
He's got a trailer.
So yeah, so like I was really, really happy with the fact that I placed in both categories.
Top 10, man.
First time doing it, I was ecstatic. So this year I am looking to do a couple more contests. The problem is the majority of them are in the U.S. And yeah, like I'd love to go and do that, but I'm not going to take a weekend away from my daughter to go cook when I can do that here, right? So I will end up hitting some of the local events. I'm going to see if even like I can get my daughter to come with me, because like
that would be rad.
Yeah, because she's really starting to show an interest, and she really likes helping me. So yeah, like I'd definitely be down to do some events this year. I am helping my buddy. He's entered an event at the end of April. I told him I'd help him out with that. But yeah, so yeah, I will be doing some competitive cooking this year, just not traveling.
And people can hire you for private events?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm not by any means trying to represent myself as like a full catering company or anything like that. But if anyone's looking to try some really good barbecue, or I don't just do barbecue, I can do other things, definitely send me a message, and maybe we can work something out. I will be offering actual barbecue lessons, like in-home training.
Oh, no
So that's
way.
one thing that I'm going to be doing, and I'm also even going to be offering just supervised cooks. So let's say you just got a new barbecue.
Yeah.
You want to invite 30 people over, but you don't really know 100% what you're doing, but you still want to try it.
Yeah.
So you can call me. I'll come over, and I won't do it for you, but I'll be there in case shit happens. And I can jump in and help out, or I can just kind of give you some notes or tips.
Yeah.
So that way the person is still in control. They're still in charge.
Yep.
But that way they don't have 30 people eating pizza because their food didn't turn out.
You're the fire department, right? Just
Yeah.
right on site.
So
Yeah, because that's one of the things that makes one of the reasons why is I'm able to kind of adjust on the fly, and even if something doesn't happen, I usually have a way to kind of bring it back or turn it around or turn it into something else, and yeah, and
and
still,
you're pretty
I can still salvage
yeah.
it.
And you're pretty ambidextrous on just about every grill that's out there, right? So it's
Yeah, like I don't know if you guys saw any of the stuff that I was doing on those little electric barbecues, but even today, like that.
I saw that one.
So
today
I was supposed to be outside. I was supposed to have a full-size smoker, a Broil King pellet grill, and a Broil King gas grill, and a Broil King keg. So everything I brought was like big cuts. Like I brought like full pork loins. I bought chicken wings to do on the smoker, and then I got there and it was raining out, and so they said you're going to be inside today on the electric. But I just took my pork loin. I cut it into pork chops.
Yeah.
And then I made some skewers, and I cut down some of my roast into steaks, and then I just threw down on this little Grill Pro electric grill, like 20 inches wide, and like the pics are up. Like I've got my diamond, like they're like it works, man. It's a little tiny grill. So yeah, like I can, or like like my uncle's barbecue I turned into a smoker. Yeah, I can throw down on pretty much anything, and like even if we're out in the woods, I could probably even build something out of like rocks and sticks and mud and you know what, like I could probably figure it out. It's all just
some of those guys are pretty good. They can make pools out of shit. You seen them?
Pools?
You haven't seen that? They make it out of like that clay. They clay out like a hole they dug and they make pools.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like those moonshine guys too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, so when you're doing maintenance on your grill, what kind of like grills are you using? Like your main grills? Like is it cast iron?
So my grills are actually they're cast iron, and then they're like dipped or coated in like a stainless steel almost.
So you're not having to worry too much about rust then?
So I still do get a little bit of surface rust. So most grills out there, I shouldn't say most. I'd say I don't know, about half of them out there are cast iron. So what you want to do with cast iron is you want to actually spray them down with oil after you're done cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps them seasoned, right?
You gotta season them beforehand.
So you need to season them before, but to keep them seasoned, essentially food comes off, heat goes off, and then you spray them down. So on my grill, I don't do much for maintenance. I most of the stuff like inside, like I never clean out the inside of my grill ever.
Yeah.
Clean out the outside. My smoker, I'll vacuum out. But you just really have to invest in a good brush. Don't buy something from the dollar store. Like go to a store, get a proper brush.
So you use a brush, really?
Yeah. I know there's a lot of the bristles getting caught in people's throats, and like I've been using a Broil King brush for over 10 years now, and I've never had a bristle fall out. So if you buy the properly made ones, like a good one, buy a good brush.
Yeah.
I mean, or there's also the wood options.
I was gonna say we just got one of them for my father-in-law, and it's nice because you can actually customize it for your barbecue. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
so
I have a couple.
You push down,
and then it goes into the grooves.
It burns it in. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and those work good on the flat side, but if you're using the side that's meant to channel, I find they don't get all the way in.
You turn them over?
Yeah.
Most grills are double-sided.
Yeah, mine are too. What are they? I've never flipped it over.
When you're doing like sausage or something with a lot of fat, you want to use the side that's like a V, because then what happens is
there's no flare-ups.
The grease is going to pool to the front, so rather than dripping right on the flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to
don't touch the meat.
Stop playing with it.
Because I'm constantly getting fires with my chicken. It drives me fucking insane.
Low and slow, right? For chicken.
Chicken.
Like a nice chicken wing.
Chicken with skin on it.
Chicken with skin.
It never fails. I always got a fucking bonfire.
That's a big mistake that people make. A lot of people think that like the lower and the slower you go, the better it is. Chicken, that skin needs to be crispy. So when I do any skin on chicken on any, whether it's on my smoker, on a rotisserie, a barbecue, whatever, I'm minimum 350. And I actually, if I'm doing like chicken wings or something, I actually like to be closer to like 400. because otherwise your skin's gonna come out.
But that's also why you're not having to clean out the inside of your grill, because you've got it at the heat of the fucking sun in there. So.
Yeah, my grill's like incinerating shit. Yeah, so like I don't need to clean that out. Right?
Like how much propane you burning through with 400 degrees, or you do natural gas?
I'm on natural gas.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that like about 2 months after we moved into our house. No, not after we moved in our house. About 2 months after I got my outdoor kitchen installed. My wife was asking me, she's like, I think the fireplace is costing us a lot of money. Can you maybe? And so I was actually smart enough to not say like, well, no, we have this new barbecue. I just said, I'll run the fireplace.
Defective,
yeah. It's not the 160,000 BTUs we just connected outside.
So what kind of barbecue do you actually have? Are you using?
Right now I'm rocking it's a DCS.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah,
those are sweet.
So you have that basically that home kitchen outside.
The Viewplex.
Yeah, and then what are the other two? You have sorry, you said.
So I've got a Weber kettle, and then I've also got a Traeger Timberline 1300 right now. So I'm running 3, and then outside of my 36-inch grill head in my outdoor kitchen, I have a built-in flat top, and then I also have 2 17,000 BTU side burners.
So your Traeger.
So it's a full kitchen, 17,000 each.
Because like a base broking's like 15,000 tops.
Each burner is usually 10 to 15 on the broke.
But I mean like the side burner though.
The side burners are usually 10 to 12.
Yeah.
So this is like essentially it's like the same burner that you'd find on like a really high-end indoor professional stove.
Jeez,
or
Louise,
range
man.
is the correct term on an outdoor burner. It's not a barbecue side burner. It's an actual built-in side burner.
And you're getting you said that sometimes even with yours, like you were having problems making sure that you were getting like accurate temperatures with your Weber. I mean the Traeger. Did you get the one with the digital thermometer on it?
Like the app and stuff?
It's got full
Is that
Wi-Fi.
reliable?
No
the
way.
problem.
Yeah, and I've heard that.
Heard that. First world problems. Everything I've got in my house is running on 5G, and it only runs on 2.4. So I have to like bounce back and forth all the time. But I've actually had like I've found that even when it is connected to the 2.4, that number one, the probe is off by like 10 or 15 degrees.
I remember when I was there that I heard that the probe was never
It's
it
way
would be
off.
reading it and it wasn't right.
Yeah, it's like telling me my roast is still rare, and then I cut into it. And it's
So
like
that's
almost
where
well
your
done.
$20 thermometer comes in handy.
Yeah,
then,
so even though my smoker has a built-in Wi-Fi, I'm using the one that's my one from Zares.
Yeah.
So,
you gotta.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I typically this time of year and like for the last couple months, I typically use the smoker the most because you're not outside with it the whole time. Like yes, I'm going out at minus 30, but it's usually just to put the cut on and then usually to take like a 10 or 15 second video.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, like I'm back inside, and then the little probe that I have is wireless as well. So I just leave it on right by the door, and then it will beep when I get to the temp that I need to go to the next step. And yeah, don't just use the timer to know what your like full doneness is, but if you're going to be doing something like a wrap or in staged cooking, that's one of the things that I've been really getting into lately. Yeah, you set it for the earlier temperature and always give yourself a couple degrees.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're like doing something, because like even though you can hear it going off, you might not be able to do it right that second.
Yeah.
So give yourself a couple degree buffer, so 2 to 3 degrees even, and that way nothing's gonna overcook.
Is there much maintenance with the Traeger?
Yeah. So the old one I had it for like 9 years. I don't know if you guys saw my obituary.
That post. Yeah. I saw that post, man.
Sorry, excuse me.
No worries.
But the new one, I've only had it for 2 months, and I've like already cleaned it out like 6 times, and like my grill actually lips off to me. Like it will actually say, "Hey, fire pots don't clean themselves, you know." And then the next time I go to start it up, it says, "So, do you own a shop vac?"
No way.
Seriously?
Dude, I'm not kidding, man. It's hilarious. So like, it's actually like
letting you know,
telling me to clean it, which is a cool feature. But yeah, man, I have to like completely take it apart, shop vac it out, blow it out. It's and yeah, like I've literally had it for like 2 months, and I've already cleaned it like a couple times. And the old one, I don't think.
Yeah, but you're not able to get the volcanic temperatures out of that thing, right? So
I've never tried to take it like full on. I've had my smoker up to like 480 though. Because typically when you're smoking, I start off in like the 165 to 180 range. Let it hit it for a couple hours to really get deep smoke penetration. And then typically, like when you're doing something like you want it to go at about the 225 mark. So like for like a brisket or like short ribs or anything like that, your final temp that you want to see is actually 203. Okay, but if you take a brisket and you get it up to 203 in 2 hours, it's not going to be the same as if you brought it up over the time. Because what happens is the fat breaks down, and then the connective tissue actually breaks down. The reason why 203 is such a magical number is that's actually the temperature that the collagen in the meat breaks down. So there's actually like like when you cut in and you can see like the different lines. So in each of those lines, there's actually collagen, and that's what sticks the meat together. Yeah. So once you hit that temperature, like 203 on beef, it actually completely breaks down, almost liquefies and becomes tender. But then also the meat's not sticking together. So like, when you cook something like a beef rib. Right? If you cook it to like 165, it's well done, but it's going to be tough. You take it up to 203, it's going to almost fall apart because all the connective tissue and the collagen.
Oh, it's just like butter.
Yeah. Now, I do also want to mention one thing. I said earlier that all meat is going to continue to rise when it comes off the grill. This is not the case once you get up to that temperature. When you take your meat up to like 203, there's nothing left to cook. There's no real, so it's basically going to stay there. Yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to worry about it. But typically anything that you're doing like that, it's going to be like almost an hour rest anyway. So,
man, I don't think I've learned so much tonight about meat and like cooking. I think if people really want to take things seriously, then you just need to have a little bit of information. Like, everybody's got a barbecue. Everybody has their way. Ernie told me a story once that he went to this guy's house and I was the same way. I worked at TA. Everybody's like,
flipping
get a barbecue. No. Everybody's got a barbecue. Everybody's telling me what's up. I'm doing barbecue, and I'm barbecuing lunch for the guys at the warehouse. This is what we do. We barbecue when you work there. So Ernie and I know a little bit. Not as much as like most of the guys, but we know a little bit. Ernie goes to a barbecue, and Ernie's like, I think I counted 35 times the guy flipped those burgers. He has no idea what he's doing.
I was getting pissed. I was like, let the fucking things, leave them alone.
Don't touch the meat.
Stop playing with it.
They're not going to run away. Just leave the...
Stop playing with it. That's my new saying now. I'm going to use that.
So one of my first YouTube videos, if not my first, are going to be my top 10 grilling tips and tricks.
Yep.
And, it doesn't matter where your barbecue game is at. If you follow these steps, you're going to bring it, whatever level you're up, it's going to be increased. Unless you're already doing everything that I'm suggesting, then you don't need my tips and tricks. But for the majority of people out there, you will benefit from just doing, and it's just simple stuff, but it's just making sure that you do it.
Yeah.
I've recently been at a couple parties where it's like, for whatever reason, I end up sometimes getting caught up in the girl clique, and it's like the last two parties I was literally like 5 to 8 girls complaining about their husbands that they need a barbecue, but they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Oh God, it's really not that hard.
So like when I told them about the they're like, please, because. But yeah, there's just so many things. Like little things, like when you're cooking a steak, like the lid's got to be open for the direct heat part. You don't go lid closed. Like I know we talked about lid. No, when you're doing the indirect part, you want. Yeah. But when you're doing that sear, for example, that lid's got to be open.
Yeah.
When you do the sear.
Yeah. Because if the lid's closed, if you're hitting direct heat and you've got it's gonna start to cook into it too much. So basically, anytime you have any steak on direct, you want lid open. Anytime that you're doing indirect, obviously it needs to be closed, right?
Yeah. And how many and how hot does the grill need to be for the sear? Did you say was it 13,000 or something like that?
So I mean,
how hot's the sun?
Yeah.
How hot should I sear my steak?
Just so from the neighbors, I can flip it.
Like most barbecues are gonna max out like around 600 or 700. But what I'll say to people is just get it as hot as it will go. And it's usually going to max out after about 25 minutes. Like if you're running something full on, about 25 minutes, it's really probably not going to get any hotter than that. So basically when you're searing, just get it as hot as possible.
And how long does it take to properly sear it, did you say? Depending on the thickness?
Yeah, so when you're real hot, like you really don't need more than a minute. Well,
that's about as long as I could probably about 5 seconds stand in front of the barbecue.
What would you do with a frozen patty?
frozen patty.
You
Yeah,
want
like
to
a burger.
thaw it first before you throw
Do
it
you
on
want
there.
to thaw it
don't
out
you?
always?
So I usually do, but
Because you're
I
gonna get a pink center.
last year there was a bunch of people saying to cook your steak from complete frozen, and I actually tried it, and I don't know, man. If you were to eat the steak, I don't think you'd be able to tell any sort of
So it
negative
doesn't matter
effect.
if the hamburger's frozen.
It takes a little bit longer for that first little bit,
Because
though.
what he was saying is like with a burger, you bring the barbecue up to around 500 degrees and you flip it once,
Yeah.
and then you watch the blood come up, and then
But obviously, frozen, that would be a different story.
Yeah, like typically, I'm not recommending that
Yeah.
you cook them from frozen. Like you should let them thaw. I'm
Yeah,
just saying that it
yeah.
can be done. What I would do though, if it was frozen, I wouldn't sear it off the start because chances are
Yeah.
it's gonna stick.
Yep.
So I would cook it indirect until it's almost where you want it,
Where you want to
and
start
then you
from.
and
Where
then
wanna
you
start
just
from, yeah.
steer and then you just sear it at the
Okay.
end. Yeah. Yeah.
So if they want to get a hold of you to start off, like, are you doing that now, where you're actually going to the people's houses and being like, no, don't touch your meat, like,
yeah.
have you started
don't
that yet?
touch it.
We can. I've been out on a few, and I mean, if someone wants to inquire about some lessons, please feel free to reach out.
So
to
they
me.
So
can
you
all-
do sorry. So
Okay.
you do advertise that then?
It's not advertised yet. Like I haven't officially advertised anything. Like this is essentially the first time that I've told anyone publicly that I left my job. Even
Yeah.
what I was hoping for was I wanted to have like all my stuff like fully ready. To go in terms of like my photo studio, my YouTube, like all that stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, this came up, so here it is. I'm available.
Because I was gonna say, because I know a couple guys with a podcast that like to advertise stuff. So like if somebody, I don't know, they want to do in-home stuff for barbecuing, we could give some shout outs or.
As long as we got any free meat or
No,
anything
it's not-
yet. We did. I'm just kidding. We did.
I brought you
That's what I'm
guys
saying.
something else too.
That's what I'm saying.
What's
this
that?
is this is new hot sauce. It's
Listen, man, I like my taste buds where it is, and that
How
looks
hot
like
is
it's
that?
fucking
it's
hotter.
it's pretty hot.
This looks like it's hotter than your fucking barbecue.
It's pretty hot. It's really good
So
though.
it's got like Carolina Reaper in it. What are we talking about?
Scotch bonnets. So they're like probably like 5th or 6th on the list of hotness.
Got a dog here in your
Like I don't think it will kill you, but like don't get me wrong, man. Like it's hot.
So this smells kind of sweet.
It's mango based.
So this is called Bayan
Banjan Tiger.
Banjan
Yeah, it's a Caribbean hot
Tiger.
sauce.
Oh, it's like a jerk chicken.
Not jerk, but yeah,
you
it's,
got me at Caribbean.
It's hot, man. It's hot, but it's a good hot.
Island Sun hot sauce is
Oh.
made by hand in small batches using as many locally sourced fresh ingredients as possible here
He
in
said
Kitchener.
batch.
Batch? In Kitchener, Ontario.
Yeah,
So,
I
let's
met
give it
that guy this week actually.
Where do
Is
you
it
get
too
that?
much?
Where do you get that from?
I don't know. I think you should try that.
yeah,
one.
it's a pretty liberal.
So like it is hot, but it's a good hot.
I like
Yeah.
hot. I like hot. Like
Yeah.
I like hot. That's delicious.
I put
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Is it like sriracha hot or?
No, it's
No.
different level. Yeah,
Mm, that's great.
but it's good though.
What would I
it's
put
a good
that on?
heat. I just did some killer wings with it. I'm gonna
That
use
would
it
be
as
killer.
I'm gonna use it as a
Oh.
finishing sauce because I really like the color of it. It's like a very vibrant yellow, so it really good contrast, like on a dark dish or with something that was dark,
Yeah.
and you get
This
that
is
nice
delicious.
color pop.
This is
But yeah, that's
awesome.
for you guys too. So
Thanks, man.
brought you 2 sauces today. One's not made by me, and
Appreciate that.
one is.
little dab will do you.
No, don't be a pussy. You could put that on like a nice, maybe a fish taco.
That would be an amazing application
Right?
for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know
That's
how
what's up.
you know how sriracha has the chicken? I realized why that
That's got a
has the
tiger.
tiger. Yeah,
It's not that bad. I like my hot sauce. Clint,
that's a spicy meatball.
anything else you want to say? Anything else you got going on?
Are you grilling anywhere? In
I'm
the neighborhood
grilling
these
and
days?
chilling. So I'll be at TA quite often. They've
Mm-hmm.
they've hired me to do a couple of events for them.
Like you do demos and stuff like that.
Like food demos, even
Yeah.
just like barbecue demos, and essentially you just come by, I cook food for you, I'll teach you some stuff, and you get to try some of the stuff that I make.
if you want some music in the background, I know a guy.
I will keep that in mind if
Yeah,
I ever
man.
need.
I'd definitely do that.
If I ever need a DJ, that'd
Yeah,
be
man.
awesome.
Thanks
Yeah.
for everything, Clint.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for hanging out.
No problem.
That-
Thanks for having me, guys.
I'm-
Oh, of course, dude.
This is awesome. This is.
I
yeah.
was just kidding about
This
the
is
meat,
our
but that's
our
amazing.
favorite.
Thank you.
This is like our new kind of like side passion, and we love it. And we have whenever we have people on, people like get nervous. We had a guy come on that was sweating when he got here. I'm like, listen, man, it's not live. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
And then everybody just wants to come back on and hang out because we just hang out.
Yeah, if you guys were to ever have me back, I'd come back.
We should have you on with Castanet.
I apologize if I talked too much the whole time.
No.
I think this.
I tend to do that a little bit.
People are getting sick of hearing us. So.
I love the info. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
I learned a lot, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, fuck, I need to step up my grill game.
Or they don't know, like.
But yeah, like, and I mean it. Like, you're not bothering me. I love it when people ask me questions. So people, if there's something you want to know, or, you know, something you want to learn that I've done, or anything, just send me a message. Cookin with Clint on Instagram, cookinwithclint@gmail.com. And in the near future, there'll be some more avenues.
So you're gonna have a YouTube page coming, right?
Yeah, YouTube. I'm even looking at some of the other social media platforms as well. I don't want to try to do too much all at once. So I kind of have a schedule as to what I want to do by when.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of sticking to that. But it's really tough because what's happening right now is I haven't even announced that I'm available or that I'm doing this stuff, and the amount of offers and people that want me to work for them, and not even just doing this stuff, like people still want me to sell for them. Like, it's just it's crazy. Like, I'm flattered, and thank you for everyone who's reached out to me to ask me to work for them, but yeah, it's just
well, you want to
it's crazy.
You want to do some advertising, just let us know, man.
Yeah,
we got fucking chairs.
So guys, so Clint's got an Instagram. He's got 1461 followers. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was only at 900 last month.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
A little bump, eh?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
When did that happen?
So since I quit my job.
Oh. Wow.
So his Instagram is Cookin with Clint. No G.
No
Cookin
Drop the
with
G.
Clint. I'll be posting it, and you're listening to this. I've posted about it for the last 2 weeks, so you know what we're talking about. And check him out, man. Go on his Instagram. Check out his food.
Go learn some shit. And
and then check out his YouTube video and oh man. Do it.
That's exciting.
Wait, but everyone, let's finish off on a strong note. Clint has the final say. What you're supposed to do with your meat.
Stop playing with it.
What's up?
Put it down.
Cheers.
Peace.
Thanks, Clint.
Thanks,
guys.
Peace. Bye-bye.